Time skip. That same day, but at night in the freckled man's room. I asked if I would be accepted, the freckled man would think, although inside he already knew that he would be. I can answer that question, a strange voice would say. How? For D, he would be interrupted by a hand on his mouth. Shut up, a silhouette with blonde hair, blue eyes, 3 strange mustaches on each side of his face and a smile on his face would whisper. I only put it because I couldn't think of anything else. Excuse me, but who are you? Izuku would ask. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto Databayo, the blonde would say, smiling. Okay? Uzumaki-san? What are you doing here and how did I get in? Just Naruto, and I'm here to warn you about something, and I came in because I'm in your mind, Naruto would say. I understand, Naruto-san, but, what do you mean in my mind? And what do you want to tell me? The green-haired man would ask doubtfully. You see, Izuku, I am the first bearer of the all-in-one, Naruto would say, surprising the freckled man who decided not to interrupt. In my life, when I developed my quirk, I thought it was very cool. I even bragged to an old friend, although over time I realized that it was in truth a curse, since being a quirk like that, it includes quirks of immortality and eternal life. In my life I lived a great life. I met 5 beautiful quintuplets, don't ask what happens, of which I became their tutor. I did it for a favor I owed to a friend. Over time I fell in love, and although it was strange, it was with the 5 of them. They accepted me. They did not care how society treated them by being polygamous. Over time I realized the darkness of this gift, since I saw my wives die in natural ways with the passing of the years, my children, the children of my children, and so I spent thousands of years in loneliness and sadness. And when I wanted to die and reunite with my wives, I found a book that told the story of a person who could fulfill a wish in exchange for a favor. I tried without much hope to do the spell, and it worked. Flashback. Time, unknown. Who is it? Summon me, called a voice. I would say, a Naruto on his knees. Well, what is your wish? The voice would ask. I want to die, and not suffer anymore. I'll do whatever it takes, Naruto would beg with tears. May I know the reason? The subject would ask. My gift is a curse, I can't die because of it, Naruto would exclaim, crying. Well, from what I can see, you've been through a lot, but the favor I'll ask of you is to guide the next carrier, the voice would exclaim. What? Not understanding what he was saying. Being a quirk of such magnitude, I cannot kill you, but what I can do is fuse your soul with your quirk. But this quirk has a kind of life of its own that chooses its bearer. You will choose the next bearer. Your mission is to prevent it from suffering what you suffered, for which I will give you complete control of your quirk. Once fused, once your energy runs out, you will be able to rest in peace, the subject would exclaim. I see, I accept, Naruto would say happily. The subject would begin to do the spell, and when he finished he would throw it at Naruto, who would begin to divide, taking out a blue ball which would disappear, although neither of them noticed that a totally dark ball also came out of the body and also disappeared. End of flashback. The freckled boy was in shock because he hadn't thought that his quirk was a curse, although he felt a little relieved that the blonde was going to avoid him, until he came out of shock and asked. But how do you know that? You said that neither of us noticed it? The freckled man would ask, looking at the blonde seriously. At that moment I didn't notice it, but now I feel that there is another source of the all-in-one, although this one is totally malignant, since it feeds on sadness, pain, suffering and loneliness, among other negative emotions that I accumulated in those years, the blonde would say with melancholy. And where is he? Maybe I can fight and defeat him? Izuku asked. He's in another dimension gathering people to attack. I estimate that he'll be back in a few months, and you still lack experience, while that guy has been alive since I died, maybe 500 years, which is why he's an expert. On the other hand, you're very small, the blonde would say seriously. I see. Do you suggest something? The freckled man would ask, something with his head down. For now, train a little more and make an effort at the academy. So maybe you have possibilities. And about your question, of course you surely passed, and by a landslide. And if I suggest something to you, use the AIO on your whole body. By doing it, the quirks you have will mold to your body. It is the most effective way to use your quirk. I see. By the way, thanks for the advice, Naruto-san. You're welcome, kid. I'm leaving now, he would say, to turn into a blue light and enter the freckled one. This reminds me a bit of Ofa, but oh well, I would say to close your eyes and sleep. A week later. Izuku. He's here, the boy's mother would exclaim. I'm coming, Mom, he would answer as he came down from his room. This person would look at an envelope and open it, and a disc would come out which would show a hologram. In the hologram. Hello, I'm a dog? A mouse? A bear? What am I? Well, I'm Direct Nezu. Okay, young Midoriya. I'm here to tell you your results. On his written exam he got a 100. The truth is that it surprises me since only someone from the third year of the academy would answer the last 3 questions, in addition to the second to last one which is university level, and the last one which is there only someone with my IQ would answer it. His practical exam resulted in 218 points for defeating villains and 50 points for a secret test which he obtained for saving that black-haired girl like a true hero, thus achieving 268 points on the exam. So welcome young Midoriya, this is your Hero Academy. Your hero course is 1A. Outside the hologram. Izuku was somewhat surprised because he knew that All Might's record of 126 had been surpassed by scoring more than double the points. Izuku. Let's celebrate. I'll make katsudon, the green-haired girl shouted as she went to the kitchen. Izuku would nod as he searches for his phone to call Momo. Phone. Izuku, hi Momo, how did the test go? Momo, I did well Izuku-kun, I got 97 on the written exam and 68 on the practical and I managed to get into the 1A course of the hero class. Izuku, how nice Momo-chan, I also got into that course, Izuku would say smiling behind the phone. Momo, and you told me your story, Izuku-kun? The brunette would ask curiously. Izuku, I got 100 on the written exam and 268 points on the practical exam. Momo, wow, why don't I get surprised, with a drop on her temple. So they continued talking for a bit until Izuku had to say goodbye as he was going to eat, and so the day ended for the freckled boy. What adventures await them after learning about the curse of his quirk and the villain he must defeat? A few months ago I met a girl whose name is Mami Nanami. Note, I'll make it more of a bitch. I put Mami because I couldn't think of anything else. Location, park near Izuku's house. When I saw her I felt like I fell in love for the first time, I couldn't help but fall in love with her. Some time passed and I nervously approached her. Our first conversation was something like this. Time, first month after Izuku told his reasons to Nehire and Momo, I think I said things weren't very normal between them for 2 months. Hello, a very nervous Izuku greeted stammering. Oh hi, what's up? The girl would ask with a smile. Oh yes, nice to meet you, my name is Izuku Midoriya, by the way, what is your name? A very nervous Izuku would ask. She would let out a small laugh. Mami Nanami, said the girl with a smile. They continued talking, getting to know each other a little better, and they exchanged numbers, and so it was that as time went by we became better friends. One day I invited Momo and Nehire to talk a little in the park, although they asked me. Ni Izuku, how many quirks do you have? Nehire would ask. Come on Nehire, you know we can't talk about that in public. Izuku would say. Moo, but there is no one around, just Momo, me and you. I would exclaim pouting, but I didn't notice that in a nearby tree there was a lock of blonde hair in a tree which was moving in the wind. No. Izuku would deny it. Please. Making Izuku give in with the legendary Kashoro eyes technique. I honestly don't know, the truth is they are incalculable. True, your quirk surely has many mysteries, after all it is a quirk that brings all the quirks, possibly the best quirk of all since it works for everything. The real question is, what can't you do? Now it was Momo's turn to speak. The truth is that I don't even know the limits of myself or my quirk. And so we continued talking a little more. A few weeks later. During that time I saw Mami closer to me, very attached, and the truth is that made me happy. We continued talking more, and one day I couldn't resist my feelings, so. We are located 1 month after they met. In that month Momo and Nehire were already acting more normal. Location, park near Izuku's house. During that time of 1 month I went out with Mom to go out with friends, and she always accepted. Now I find myself ending this, and I'm going to tell her. Mami Nanami, ever since I met you, you've caught my attention, and that's why. I like you. Would you like to be my girlfriend? Izuku would exclaim, bowing, stuttering and very nervous to the point of almost fainting. I won't put the stutters like the P. E. P. E-O-T-S-E-C-H, I'll just put that he's stuttering. Of course. I like you too, Izuku Midoriya. The blonde would exclaim, throwing herself at him. And so we began our relationship, although whenever I asked him if I could meet my mother, he always avoided it. I never gave it much importance, although I wanted to introduce her. Time skip. 28 days later. During that time Momo and Nehire found out, although I noticed that they didn't take it very well. I suppose it's because they think that I will move away from them, yes of course, or something like that, so they don't take it too seriously. Now I'm planning what I'm going to do for our anniversary. Should I do that? No exclamation mark ... in that? No. And so he continued thinking until I got it, Izuku would exclaim smiling. Well, the first thing will be. Time skip. 2 days later. Today was my anniversary with mommy, so I was leaving ready to surprise her. I was looking for an alley until I found it and put on a bear costume. Since mommy had told me that today I would go out with some friends. Flashback. 2 days ago. Call her, he would say as he looked for his cell phone and called his girlfriend. Call. Mommy, hello Izuku, how are you? Izuku, hi mommy, are you free the day after tomorrow? Mommy, no, Izuku, the day after tomorrow I have an outing with friends to the mall. Izuku, okay then, see you. He would say something sad, something that the blonde didn't notice. End of call. End of flashback. So I'll surprise him at the mall, and that's why I dressed as a bear. Time skip. 27 minutes later. Location, Musetafu Shopping Center. Izuku would be looking with his bear suit where his girlfriend was. Although he wishes he hadn't seen her since the surprise was given to him by the. In a place his girlfriend Mommy Nanami was with a brown-haired boy. At first Izuku thought he was just a friend until he saw how he stole a kiss from her and she reciprocated. When Izuku saw that, he felt something breaking inside him. I love you Kazuya, she would exclaim while continuing to kiss him until she sees the bear in the window of the store. She would see how the bear was slowly removing its head, showing a dull Izuku with tears in his eyes. Izuku? The girl would exclaim while leaving the store, seeing how the boy was leaving, and she would reach him holding his hand. What do you want, Nanami? The boy would ask without turning to look. Let's talk, yeah. Let me explain, the blonde would say. Explain what to me? At least tell me since when? What? The blonde would ask. Since when are you cheating on me? Izuku would ask with tears in his eyes. Since we started dating. The girl spoke with tears in her eyes, her head down. So that means you never loved me? You know how much I loved you. To tell you the truth, I only went out with you because I heard that your quirk is incredible. I would say without thinking about anything I was saying. I see, so it was just interest? He was going to leave until something crossed his mind. At least you know what day it is today? What day is it, Saturday? Izuku would deny. Maybe it's not a day but a special day, what could it be? Your birthday? I would ask and Izuku would deny while more tears shed. Valentine's Day. Men's Day. He was going to continue but. It's Wednesday, I turned a month ago, it's not February and it's not Men's Day either, I can't believe you really forgot our anniversary. He said, leaving while behind you could see a mom crying in shock. Hello honey. Are you okay? The brunette would ask, to which the blonde only dried her tears and nodded, although she felt an emptiness in her chest which she didn't know what it was while they both left the place. If you saw Kanokari you will know that on that same day mommy broke up with Kasuya and this was no exception. After that day I focused on my life and forgot about it. The strange thing is that I got over it very quickly. For a week, during that week, Momo and Nehire asked me what happened. I answered them all without fail and they understood, although I noticed an expression. Happy? In both cases, which seemed strange to me, but I let it go. The next day. 6:30 a.m. The sun's rays peeked through the curtains of a room where a freckled green-haired man began to wake up. When he opened his eyes he looked at his alarm clock and got up to start his first day. He did his daily routine, which consisted of doing a little exercise, taking a bath, changing clothes and having breakfast. Izuku, do you have everything? The green-haired boy's mother would ask while looking at her son. Yes, Mom, I just have to wait for Momo and Nehire. And because the green-haired boy is waiting for Momo and Nehire, easy. Flashback. Previous day. We can see Izuku, who was about to sleep when. Ring ring ring. His phone would ring and he would turn it on, realizing it was a group call, answering it only to barely answer. Group call. Nehire, Izuku. An anxious Nehire would shout, making Izuku and Momo cover their ears. Izuku, what's going on, why are you calling me at this time? Momo, I accidentally told her that I would pick you up on the day of the exam and we would talk without her, she would already be talking, already having an idea of where she was going. Izuku was about to speak when. Nehire, and what I want is for us to always go to school together. Izuku was going to speak but. Momo, hey. That wasn't what we agreed on, an angry Momo would exclaim. Nehire, yes, sorry, I meant that we three always go together, F for Mirio and Tamaki XD. Izuku, sure, I'd love to go with you. Nehire/Momo, decided, they both would exclaim with a smile behind the call. And so they continued talking a little longer. End of flashback. Izuku was leaving his apartment and would meet both girls. "Hi Izuku, how did you wake up?" they both would ask with a smile. "Well, and you?" "Anyway, by the way, Izuku, I asked Momo how much they got, and she only told me her grade, not yours." "Why?" a curious Nehire would ask. "Oh. I don't know either, actually," looking sideways at Momo, "but I got 100 on the written test and 268 on the practical test." "I see, that's incredible, you even beat All Might's record." a very excited Nehire would exclaim. And so they continued walking towards the academy. Upon arrival, each one went to their classroom, Momo and Izuku to 1A and the blue-haired girl to 3A. "Wow, the door is very big," Izuku would say, somewhat surprised. "I guess it will be for the mutation-type quirks," Momo would say, seeing Izuku nod. "Okay, let's go in, I hope I don't run into those two," remembering a Muslim and an exaggeratedly diligent blue-haired man. "When you open the door you will see a small conversation." "Hey, you should, putting your feet down is disrespectful to the people who made it and to those who sat here," he would exclaim, making some up and down movements resembling a robot. "Shut up, Four Eyes, what high school did you go to?" "Extra," a blonde Muslim shouted while looking at the blue-haired man. "I'm Ida Tenya and I come from Same's high school." I would talk while making my robot movements. "Same, huh? So a damn elite. More reasons to crush you," he would exclaim, looking angrily at the blue-haired four-eyed man. "Crush me, do you really want to be a hero?" he would say, somewhat intimidated as he looked at the door, and in a second he was already in front of Izuku and Momo, who had already been observing the conversation. "Hello, nice to meet you." So, he was interrupted. "Ida Tenya, from Same High School, we heard you," Izuku would say. "Hey, I wanted to apologize. I know we started off on the right foot. Plus, I have to admit that you're better than me, you discovered the secret test." "I know I'm better than you, so move, I'm going to sit down," Izuku would say egocentrically, while Momo looked at him with a drop of sweat. So much time with a villain as a father had to affect him, right? Some time passed and a giant caterpillar would appear. "Go somewhere else if you want to play at being friends," he said, discouraged, drinking an orange juice, while he saw everyone talking except for a freckled man who was just sitting with his eyes closed. "Okay, it'll take 8 seconds for you all to calm down. I'm your head teacher Aizawa now. I know you just got here, but put this on and head to the courtyard." Taking out uniforms and throwing them to the students. All the students just listened to what was said and went down in uniform to the courtyard where the teacher was. "Okay, kids, we'll do a quirk test," he would say, surprising everyone. "And the opening ceremony?" a chestnut would speak. "In this school we don't take importance to ridiculous events like those. I speak seriously. You got the first place in the practical exam with a total of," he would say, taking out a sheet where the results were written. 268 points. He would say, surprising, although it wasn't noticeable because of the monotonous way of speaking, and at the same time surprising everyone. "Right? That hair, could it be him?" a redhead wondered while looking at a greenhead. "He's a monster," most thought, except for a brunette who already knew half and half, and a pale-haired guy who was starting to get angry about what was said. "Of course," Izuku would speak. "In high school, what was your best softball pitching result?" Mother Caterpillar would ask. 125 meters. Responderia, did not make an effort. "Without your quirk." "Exactly, without my quirk." "I see, then, try to do it with your quirk, you can do whatever you want while you're in this circle." Pointing a circle. Izuku would pass to the circle while remembering the advice of his blonde friend. "Okay, let's see, it's the first time I use it, Naruto-san told me I could use quirks while I do it. I'll try, although I won't use it all, I don't want to attract too much attention," he said, while an aura of rainbow-colored rays began to surround him, like the full cowl but with rainbow rays. "All in 110%. he would say in a whisper. "Around the world," he would shout while throwing the ball, which disappeared. Until. "Ah!" a heart-rending scream produced by a grape dwarf who fainted from the blow, followed by a plea. 40,000 kilometers. I would speak, very surprised. "I did some research and saw that for a trip around the world it is the same. If you correct me I would appreciate it. Unfortunately I did not find a GIF." 40,000. They all shouted, even a bicolor one, although not as much as his other companions, although the one who didn't shout was a pale-haired one who was angry. "Damn Deku. How dare you hide from me that you had a quirk? Bakugo would shout, launching himself at Izuku to exploit him, but his teacher's bandages would stop him. Enough, he would say while he let go of him, and Bakugo would just click his tongue angrily while he left. Hey, don't you think you went too far? A voice would speak in the freckled man's mind. I only used 10%, I didn't think it was that much, honestly I was very surprised. I would think. While a cheap Johnny Bravo saw this very seriously. That rainbow aura, he didn't show it before more hidden young Midoriya. He would think seriously. It looks fun. A pink-haired girl would say. Funny, huh? Well, the last place will be expelled for not having potential. He said with a macabre smile that gave a chill to everyone except a green-haired boy who was already next to his ebony friend. What? Screaming except for Izuku, Momo, Bakugo, and Todoroki. Hey, don't you think you went too far? Momo would ask her green-haired friend. The truth is that I am also surprised by the power I have now, and that I only used 10%. He would speak carefree, surprising everyone, since after the scream everything went silent and only his conversation could be heard. So only 10%, everyone would shout except Bakugo and Todoroki, although both were surprised and Izuku was embarrassed since he didn't know he had said it out loud, while most didn't believe it was only 10%. And so the tests continued, in which in all of them Izuku came first using his quirk, sometimes complete and sometimes individual quirks, getting first in all the tests. Well, these are the results. The teacher would say while showing the results. Results. 1 Midoriya Izuku. 2 Uraka Ochako, I only put it because it has the OFA 3 Bakugo Katsuki. 4 Todoroki Shoto. 5 Yaoyorozu Momo. 20 Mineta Minoru. And why did he come last? Easy, because he was unconscious the entire test, so he didn't do it, although his quirk can be good for holding back villains. I guess he was saved. The expulsion was a joke. The teacher was serious. It was obvious, he can't expel anyone. Momo said, looking at her teacher, which surprised some people by such a statement. In fact, if it was true, our teacher Aizawa Shoto, or Eraserhead, is known for expelling an entire class for not having potential. Izuku said, looking at the dark-haired girl who was surprised by what was said. He's absolutely right, you better get ready, he said as he went with the others to continue the class. The day continued with normal classes. After finishing, Izuku was leaving, although. Hey, you must be Deku, right? A brunette would say, stopping Izuku, which made a brunette jealous, who was going to approach before being interrupted. Deku? No, I'm Midoriya Izuku, he corrected. Oh, it's just that since that blonde Muslim called you that, I thought that was your name. No, Kachin, he just tells me that because Deku means useless to bother, something he will never achieve. Oh, I see, but Deku doesn't mean useless, it means you can do it. Oh, I see, it doesn't matter, don't ever call me that, he said while turning to see a brunette to make a sign for her and for her to nod to accompany him. So, can you do it? Huh? Don't call me that, he asked, almost begging for that shitty name. Well, Deku. She would respond mockingly, which was ignored, and continued talking but continued being ignored. Sorry. Izuku just kept talking to her after that. A few days passed. Izuku and Momo were sitting next to each other talking about trivial things until. Hey Momo, do you know why Sensei is taking so long? I don't know, Izuku, maybe the mobile caterpillar is damaged. The girl responded somewhat mockingly, remembering her teacher. They continued talking until. I'm coming in like a normal person, he said, coming in like a moron. All might / entering like a retard. Almost the whole room would speak except for a freckled man who didn't say the same, and everyone saw him with a drop on his temple. Today is hero class. Ignoring what the freckled man said. What are we going to do? A Pikachu would say. Hero battle. Combat? A blonde Muslim and Izuku thought excitedly. Isn't it too early, Karo? A frog waifu would say. With this practice you will gain experience, and now. Pressing a button. Put on your hero suits. As suits emerged from the walls. While everyone nodded. Dressing rooms. Boy, look what I found. Pointing at a hole in the wall. A legacy from our ancestors. Let's see Uraka's curves, Hagakure's floating panties, the Ya-Urap. He was interrupted by. Ah! My balls! He would scream while getting into the fetal position, grabbing his balls and then fainting, while an Izuku looked at him with disgust. With the girls. Jiru, what was that scream? A pink-haired girl would ask. With their jacks on the wall. It seems that Mineta wanted to spy on us, and it seems that Midoriya hit him in, well, you know. He would speak while the others understood, although a brunette blushed, thinking that he did it so that they wouldn't spy on her. On the field of confrontation, All Might was waiting for his students, when they started to come out in their suits. "You look great," the blonde would shout. "Wait. Mineta and Midoriya are missing," the four-eyed one would say. "Here we are." While carrying a fainted miner. "What happened to him?" asked All Might. "I wanted to spy on the girls." He spoke without further ado, to which the blonde nodded and continued. "He will change his suit from time to time depending on the skills he uses the most at the moment, although I put it there because of the ball-breaking blow he gave Mineta. I wanted to put where you can see that it breaks, but I couldn't find it, so He will change his suit from time to time depending on the skills he uses the most at the moment, although I put it there because of the ball-breaking blow he gave Mineta. I wanted to put where you can see that it breaks, but I couldn't find it, so You look great, Midoriya." Most of the men shouted, while a Bakugo thought he would look better and one simply thought he was fine, which was Todoroki. While the women were very blushing, although one of them had blood on her nose, which was Momo, who just wiped it quickly. "Izubro, you look very manly," Kirishima would say as he approached. "Thank you, Kirishima. Thank you, Izuku. You look good, and handsome," Momo would say as she approached with a blush that she knew how to hide. "Thank you, Momo. Thank you, Izuku. Okay, let's start. There will be villain and hero battles where the villains have kidnapped a bomb in their building. The hero's objective is to touch the bomb or defeat the villains, and the villain's objective is to defend the tower and the bomb. They will be 2 vs 2 in random teams," the blonde would speak. "Sensei, why are there random fights and we can't choose them ourselves?" Anita would speak. All Might was going to answer, but someone got in first. "Because you won't always be by your partner's side, you'll have to adapt to the one you get," Izuku would say. "Exactly, as the young Midoriya says." He would be serious because he still hadn't forgotten about the resemblance to his Ofa. "Thank you very much." Bowing. "Very well, the teams are the following. Teams: A. Midoriya and Yaoyorozu. B. Bakugo and Todoroki. Who cares about the other extras, I'm just going to put the main characters fight XD. Well, it will be Team A heroes against Team B villains. Go to the place of confrontation and the others come with me. I speak too." Everyone nods. "It seems like we were together," Izuku would say. "I'm glad I got to play with you, thank goodness, I thought it could be worse," he said, and thought, remembering a certain perverted purple-haired boy who had already woken up. "Do you have a plan?" Izuku asked. "I tell him or not, and if he fails and if we lose, or better not tell him. No, I don't have. I speak," although Izuku noticed that if he had this, he already had a suspicion of his insecurity problem. "I know you have one, and your insecurity problem is probably affecting you, but I assure you that it will not fail. You are a very intelligent woman, and I am sure that the plan you make will not fail. After all, you are great, Momo," Izuku spoke, who managed to help him a little, although not much, but he suffered enough to trust her more. "If he trusts me, why don't I trust myself?" "Thanks, Izuku. Of course, my plan is that Bakugo will surely come for what you have told me and will try to convince Todoroki-kun to stay and take care of him. Therefore we have to wait for Bakugo to come, and then you use Jiro's quirk and look for Todoroki and then do a surprise attack and touch the bomb. Whispering about Jiro's quirk so that no one would hear. Your plan is fine, but I want to fight both of them," he said excitedly, to see how much they both knew how to fight, although he already knew he was going to win. A sound was present starting the fight. Izuku and Momo would be together waiting for the signal until Deku, he shouted as he lunged. Izuku quickly, using Jiro's quirk, finds Todoroki, who is at the bomb, and points out the building to Momo, which goes for the bomb. While Bakugo ignored her and propelled himself with his explosions, running towards Izuku, preparing himself, but Izuku would create a kunai with the Hiraishin seal using Momo's quirk, throwing it and teleporting a little far from Bakugo. "That's all, Bakugo," with a mocking tone that only infuriated the pale-haired boy more. "Deku, I will kill you," he shouted while launching himself again. This time Izuku created another kunai with the Hiraishin seal and would throw it above Bakugo while creating a Rasengan. "What bad aim you have, you nerd of," he couldn't continue because Izuku would teleport and take the kunai while saying Rasengan and throwing it at the ashen-haired boy's back, leaving him unconscious. In the observation room. "How many quirks does that boy have? Does it have to do with him?" I would think, watching the fight very seriously while the others were very surprised. Back with Izuku. He would be looking for Momo in the building and when he found her. "Shall we go in?" I asked her, scaring her, appearing behind her. Before screaming, Izuku covers his mouth. "Do you want him to find out?" While he took his hand away. "Yes, sorry." He apologized as Izuku opened the door seeing Todoroki. That's what happens when you get too confident. Remembering what Bakugo told him. Flashback. A few minutes ago. Place where Bakugo and Todoroki were. "Damn Deku, you'll pay for this," he would say angrily. "If you want we can both go, if we both go against him he won't be able to do anything." "You don't care, damn half and half, don't get involved in my fight and my business with Deku." Looking at him angrily. "I'm sure he'll beat you." "What did you say, damn?" He was going to continue but the signal to start interrupted him. End of flashback. "Well, I hope you give me a good dance." While he got into a fighting pose. While getting into a fighting stance. Ignore Naruto. Todoroki would put his hand on the floor freezing both of them thinking he had won but Izuku would break the ice quickly and go to Momo. Breaking the ice as quickly as possible. "Damn idiot, can't you see that you could have killed her from hypothermia?" I shouted angrily. As if I care. That was the straw that broke the camel's back as Izuku made another stance. While raising his gaze and saying gear second. Izuku would launch himself towards Todoroki who did not see a combo of blows that were directed at his stomach ending with a double kick breaking the wall of the building and throwing Todoroki. To pounce again and before Todoroki fell down the building he would give a combo of blows to a disoriented Todoroki while saying Gamu Gamu no, Gatling doing a combo of blows while going down making a crater that began. And to finish the last blow and, all in one. Whisper which Todoroki didn't hear. 0.5% blow destroys assholes. Hitting him in the pit of his stomach, leaving him unconscious. And the observation room. Nobody said anything, they just saw how their teammate beat Todoroki up, which surprisingly only left him unconscious. Izuku held back, "Don't fuck with me, gang." Incredible, everyone shouted except Ilmai who was watching this seriously. That amount of quirks, it has to be related to him, there's no doubt. I thought very seriously. Back with Izuku. This one was waiting for Momo though. "Don't you think you went too far?" Naruto spoke inside his mind. He asked for it, he practically didn't care about killing Momo and the worst thing was that he said it to my face. He would speak angrily. "Lucky you held back otherwise I would be too dead." Izuku sighed as he watched Momo arrive. "Don't you think you went too far?" I asked. "I don't regret anything, besides, he deserves something worse, after all, he didn't care about your life." Sigh. "He worried about me." I thought very happily. "Thank you for protecting me," I thanked him. Time skip. Departure time. During that time the fights continued, which I won't put, who cares, although when we returned they asked me about my quirk, I just evaded the questions although I noticed how Omai looked at me seriously, I suppose he already knows, anyway it doesn't matter. Now I'm dating Nehire. "Izuku, and how was your day today?" Nehire would ask. "We did well, we did a heroes and villains test." Izuku replied. "And because Momo isn't with you?" "I don't know, after the practices they called her and she told me she was coming, then she started avoiding me. I tried to ask her why she was avoiding me but she just ignored me and well. I don't know if I did something wrong," she answered sadly. "I see, I suppose it must be some problem of hers, I will ask her anyway." "Thanks Nehire." And so they both went to their homes. The next day. Izuku would be waking up because of the sun rays coming through his window. When he woke up completely he would sit on his bed and remember what happened yesterday. Flashback. Yesterday. We can see Izuku who was walking back to his classroom after the tests. Until. Ring ring. Momo would take out her phone to see who it was. "What does he want? Wait Izuku, I'm coming." While she went to another place to talk. He would wait for her. After about 10 minutes she would come back. Izuku would ask her what happened. "What happened?" he would ask, although he was ignored and she walked on by. Izuku after that just let him pass. When classes ended and lunch arrived, Izuku would ask again. "Momo?" Again ignored. And so the rest of the day went, Izuku asking what's wrong and Momo ignoring. What Izuku didn't notice was that she had a face of sadness. End of flashback. With a very sad face, "What did I do wrong?" he would whisper to himself as he got up to start his day. Izuku would do the daily thing, get up, take a bath, and blah blah blah. Time skip. Location, UA. Lunchtime. Izuku would be walking with a sad face looking for Nehire when he found her. Did you manage to ask him what was wrong? Izuku would ask, hoping to know, and Nehire would just deny. He also ignored me. I really don't know what could be happening to him. Do you know if he stopped talking to those in his class? Nehire would ask. Now that you mention it, no, keep talking to them. That is strange, I wonder what it is. Time skip. 5 days. In these 5 days nothing has changed, he continues ignoring us. The strange thing is that he started wearing sunglasses. I thought the sensei would tell him to take them off, but apparently he has permission or something like that, so I don't pay attention to it. I'm tired, I'll go confront her at her house. I think her father came back. It was something I heard from her before she started ignoring me. Now I find myself arriving at your house. When he reached the gate, he tried to pass, but some guards wouldn't let him. Go back home, brat, a random guard would say. I came to see Momo, I'm a friend. Lady Momo doesn't wait for anyone and we have orders not to let any of your friends in. Now leave, another random person would say. That's weird, I won't do it, let me pass. I already told you no, brat. Back off now or else. Or else what? He would ask, changing his look to a very frightening one, but the guards would not give in. We'll kick you out. I want to see you try it. The guard would try to strangle him with his arm, but Izuku would hit him with his elbow in the pit of his stomach, grab him by the head and hit him. Then he would kick the other guard in the face, knocking them out. More or less like this. If these are your bodyguards, what a shitty security, don't even use my quirk. Izuku would continue advancing until he reached the front of the mansion. He was going to enter from above to talk to Momo, but he heard screams. He would move forward to hear what was happening. Inside the mansion. I already told them no. Don't they see the harm they are doing to me and him? I did what they asked me to do so they would leave him, but sniff sniff, now they want to commit me to someone I don't love. Sniff. With each word she said her voice was breaking. It's the best for you, daughter, tell him something, darling, Mr. Yaoyorozu spoke. I'm not going to get involved, I don't agree either, she would say. It doesn't matter anymore, you already signed. That was because you forced me. What happened to the man I loved, she exclaimed, very angry at what they wanted to do to her daughter. It was always here, I don't know what you're talking about. What's done is done, so your fiancé is coming so you can come talk to him, Mr. Yaoyorozu would speak. You've changed, I don't recognize you anymore, said his wife as she went to comfort her daughter who was crying silently. It's the best. Outside the mansion. Now I can get an idea of why she was ignoring us, even so I will wait for that damn fiancé, I won't let them do anything to Momo, while she climbed up the mansion to wait. Do you like it or what? Naruto would ask between laughs in his mind, who remained silent all this time. Yes, and a lot. In his mind. And your friend Nehire? In his mind. Her too, it's weird, isn't it? In his mind. You shouldn't be ashamed, I married 5, maybe I can give you advice. In his mind. They didn't continue talking because a black car parked in front of the mansion. They entered and Izuku sneaked in through the window to hear better. Inside the mansion. Good evening, Mr. Yaoyorozu. Both Makotos would greet. They both went to the dining room to wait for the food. Some time later he arrived and they ate after finishing. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Yaoyorozu, why did you call us? Said Mr. Makoto. Okay, we have the papers ready, we just need your signature, Mr. Yaoyorozu spoke. I take the pen and when I was about to sign. I object, said a voice coming down the stairs. Everyone was surprised, but especially Momo. Said a voice coming down the stairs, everyone was surprised but especially Momo. Izuku? Both women, mother and daughter, would ask with inhumanity. Well, so the buttery broccoli deigned to appear, said the eldest Yaoyorozu with mockery in his words. Who is the brat? Mr. Yaoyorozu / who deigned to interrupt us? Both Makoto spoke sir/son. I won't let my friend marry a jerk, so I challenge you to husband tests. Husband proof? Everyone would ask. First of all, how did you get in, the guards and those how? Asked Momo. What security they have here, and they claim to be millionaires, I didn't even use my quirk. What evidence of a husband or anything, this is already. He was interrupted. I'm talking to the owner of the circus, not the clown. Izuku spoke mockingly to Mr. Makoto. Don't bother me, brat, what's done is done now. Ready, he was interrupted. You say it's for Momo's sake? I doubt it. You say it's for the company's sake? Sounds like something you'd do. Since when? Momo was going to ask, but her mother whispered to her not to continue. It's for the sake of Momo, the company, and everyone else's retirement. Do you know something, Mr. Yaoyorozu? You're starting to piss me off. You sound like a broken record. You have 3 seconds to leave or I'll kick you out for 3, 2, I was going to continue but. Kicking? I want to see you try it, he said mockingly and was interrupted. Mr. Yaoyorozu would pounce with quite polished combat techniques, but Izuku still dodged all the blows. Come on, is that all you have? He asked mockingly while continuing to dodge. It's my turn, Izuku would pounce. He would give him a right hook in the face that knocked him to the floor, spitting some blood. Mr. Yaoyorozu would signal Mr. Makoto to stop the beating they were giving him, and they arrived each on the left and right. Izuku saw that and I would return with Mr. Yaoyorozu to follow him, hitting the ground. His face was shit. I understand that everything was different before. While hitting him. You wanted your daughter? Your wife? And something happened, something changed you, do you really want this? While continuing to hit him. A future where your daughter is suffering for who knows what jerk and your wife is probably far from you. While continuing to hit him. Now, what was the best moment of your life? While stopping hitting him and activating the Sharingan. As he stopped hitting him and activated the Sharingan, Tsukiyomi spoke the words and everything around Mr. Yaoyorozu changed. POV SR Yaoyorozu. The moment he said those words, I entered into an illusion where I saw all the best moments of my life. When I met the love of my life, I never thought I would fall in love with how serious I was. One of the happiest days of my life when I told him my feelings and they were reciprocated. When we got married, it was a wedding I will never forget. It was unforgettable, although without a doubt. The second best day of my life was when she told me I was going to be a father. It was the best day of my life. I even remember telling her, my wife, that I will always seek your happiness. I still remember it. I told you, I thought I had forgotten. No, if I forgot it, it was thanks to that boy that I remembered it. And the best day of my life was when you were born, Momo. It was undoubtedly the best. I told her the same thing I told her mother. I will always seek her happiness. I also remember her first year when I saw her crawl and halfway through she was already standing. I always raised her with the values of being humble, just like my wife. We wanted our daughter to be humble and for her to choose her happiness. I also remember his first words, Dad, I love you. Then he said the same thing to her. So mother, it was another of my happiest days. When I played with her in the park, I always saw her playing with the little ones. They were beautiful days. I thought nothing could get worse until she turned 3 years old. I was notified that the company was in a downward spiral. Due to the stress, I spent days working and even forgot the happy moments I had spent with them. After a year, the company was already recovering, but I was still stressed. Because of that, I said ugly things to my daughter. Now, I see that I was a bad father. Your quirk is useless, you better give up on your dream. I didn't say those words with the intention of making her feel horrible, it was because I wanted to protect her. I wanted her to inherit the companies. Not that I'm a heroine who can die, I couldn't bear it when I realized it was too late, so I just forgot that memory. Also because of that, I fought with my wife and we were on the verge of separating. One day I heard that Momo met an amazing boy. I never knew who he was because he never told me because he was a bad father. I only knew because I heard his conversation with my wife. I felt a little happy about that, too. My wife didn't get a divorce. Or so I thought I remembered. Now I remember I forced her not to. I'm disgusting, aren't I? Over time, the stress of work made me change so much that I ended up getting a personality very different from mine and ended up tormenting my daughter. One day I checked the security cameras of the park where she mostly played. I discovered that 2 children were coming in to play with her. I didn't want them to do anything to her, but I saw that she was so happy that I let it go. As time went by, I forgot my happy moments, and until recently I lost them completely. Since the company was plummeting again, I had to try harder. Out of desperation, I kept thinking that the best thing would be to compromise her so everyone is happy, and even then, yes, but now I realize that only I would be happy. No. Not even that, I would be unhappy, my wife would leave me and abandon me, my daughter would also be unhappy. The only beneficiaries would be the company. That was something I didn't know. I guess the stress made me think that everyone would be happy. The engagement was going well, but I didn't want anyone to get involved in this, so I told her that. Flashback. Day Momo started ignoring Izuku. Call. Momo, what do you want? Momo's dad, to start, I need you to come to the house to talk. Momo, I don't want to. I won't go, especially if you're there. Momo's dad, come on, or I'm wondering what would happen to your little friends. Momo, you wouldn't be able to. Momo's dad, of course it would be, you know it's not the first time he ruined someone. Momo, okay, what do you want me to do? Momo's dad, that's what I thought, now I want you to come here to the house and stop talking to both brats. Momo, but. Momo's dad, no buts, you know what I'm capable of. Momo, okay, sorry Izuku, I can't let my father do something to you because of me. End of flashback. That boy is right, I was just looking for my happiness, or my unhappiness? Outside the illusion. That will be enough. Deactivating the Tsukiyomi. Dad? His father began to wake up. Daughter, darling, I'm sorry, I was a bad father, a bad husband, but, please give me another chance, he would beg on his knees while shedding tears. It's not like we can forgive you with a simple pardon, you have to prove that you're truly sorry, both would speak at the same time. Okay. As he stood up and looked at Izuku. Thanks kid, for making me see my mistakes, and would gladly accept your husband test. Of course, I'm glad you understand now. Let's go, as they walked out into the courtyard of the large mansion. Well, the test is the following. Evidence. 1. Cooking test, a good husband should know how to cook so as not to give all the work to the wife. 2. An interview. Only 2? Momo's father would ask, receiving a nod. Okay, let's start. The first thing will be to look for the ingredients, Izuku would say while he started to look around the house for some ingredients. The other random was also looking for them. Once they had them ready, they would start cooking. Time skip. The judges are the Yaoyorozu and the Makoto's father. Well, here you go, I hope you enjoy it, Izuku would say while showing a tonkatsu. TSK, whatever, I'm sure I'll win, he said while showing a bunch of apples. He spoke while showing a bunch of apples. Well, thanks for the food, they all said as each one took a little bit of bread. Everyone except Momo tried the pie, except the cooks, and when they touched it they vomited. Hey, you should eat it too, I snorted annoyed thinking that she would surely like it, what Izuku said. I will be the one to try it, I must protect Momo, as he approached and took it. After that I threw up and everyone tried mine which everyone loved and gave me the point. Okay, the last test is an interview. I'll ask the questions, you answer, okay? I asked, and he nodded, thinking I could lie. Izuku activated a quirk that allows him to say everything he thinks and well, it happened then. How did you meet Momo? I asked while taking out a notebook and writing it down. I saw her at a gala. As soon as I saw her, I told my father that I wanted her as a wife, he said while Momo looked at him with disgust. Why do you like Momo? He asked after writing in his notebook. She's physically appealing, but I'm more interested in what I can get from her for myself. He was interrupted while Momo increased the disgust she had. Don't continue, what are your reasons for Momo to marry you? I would ask. I want to control her, to have her at my disposal, and keep her from living her own life. He would answer while Momo was about to vomit. What would you offer her? I would ask. She'll be expected to cater to my needs while I do nothing in return. Momo already told Izuku to stop the interview, which he did. Wow, you are a sick friend, Izuku would say. What, how? He would realize that everyone, including his father, was looking at him with disgust. I suppose that by unanimous decision you won the test, therefore now you are her fiancé, the older Yaoyorozu would speak, leaving Izuku in shock. Boo, but if this was to break the engagement, don't stop, he was interrupted. I want to marry you Izuku, she would exclaim while she threw herself at him. That wasn't my intention, but I guess it's okay if she accepts it, sigh I guess it's okay, shall we go, Momo? He would ask his now fiancé. Of course, while Izuku bent down and picked her up to fly away. Time skip. 11:34 p.m. Izuku would arrive at his special place which only he knew. Where are we? Momo would ask seeing the beautiful place. Imagine it's night and there are lots of stars. My special place is near the town of Nahire on a small hill, he said while sitting under the tree. How gorgeous. Because you agreed to let me be your fiancé. I thought it was obvious, why would that be? I like you, Izuku. You were my first friend, then I got to know you better, although when I realized that you were dating that bitch and well I felt bad until you told us that you broke up with her. I couldn't miss the opportunity, that's why Izuku, that you. She was going to continue but a kiss interrupted her, which made her close her eyes to reciprocate. I like you too. Momo, do you want to be my girlfriend? She would let out a small laugh but if we are already engaged, I still accept. She would say, returning the kiss. They talked a little more and left. Time skip. Day after. Momo was lying in her bed remembering yesterday's conversation. Flashback. Yesterday. But you're not the only one I like, Momo. Izuku would say. Nay higher, right? Yes, calm, he was interrupted. You only talked to us two, it was obvious, even so I wouldn't mind sharing you with her, after all she is my best friend, F for Jiru, but it will only be her, understood? Yes, Izuku would answer. End of flashback. Now Momo was getting ready to leave with Izuku and Nehire since she had already talked to her about what was happening, although she didn't tell her that she was engaged to Izuku, only that Izuku helped her break the engagement and the reason why they didn't talk. Just that, since I wanted Izuku and Nehire to talk about it, but that will be for another time. Now she was waiting for her teacher who arrived. Okay, guys, tomorrow we'll have rescue training at the USJ.